In 2018, I discovered calisthenics. It was quite literally love at first sight, and for the following years, it became my only obsession. So much that 5 years after and out of high school, I decided to drop out university. My plan, become an athlete, create content and make my living out of it. But as you can see, it didn't turn out this way. After 6 months in, I stopped. I was facing internal struggle about my project, and worse than this, I was questioning my practice in relation with calisthenics. There was passion, but all this had a cost. It was demanding, using brutal methods, not just hard one. It was really like draining, and in the end, it was taking all the room in my life. I was then asking myself, is this what I really want? And it took me a year where I stepped back. I lost myself. I destroyed this Leo whose only Polaris star in life was calisthenics. It was harsh, long, and the void left was loud. I tried things here and there. I experimented, and in the end, it helped me find my real purpose. But here's the interesting part. In all this mess, even at my lowest, I never fully stopped calisthenics. Even though I was holding the practice responsible for so much trouble, I was still practicing it. There was something to scratch, to understand, and by little trials here and there, I could come to this conclusion. I still have something to do with calisthenics. My problem wasn't the sport, it was how I was treating it, how I was practicing it. And this is how, slowly, I decided to come back on track in a more sustainable way, leaving less room and less time in order to make better use out of it. And it's precisely in this period, in November 2025, that an old friend of mine called Adrian, an athlete and coach, decided to release a whole formation on how to get skills in calisthenics. This time, this approach was really different from anything else. It was science-based, and when you just get a look, it seems quite legit. This seemed like the path to borrow, actually. But in this moment, my goal in calisthenics for the end of the 2025 year was mainly to create a dynamic, not to find the perfect plan or system. It was just like smoothly integrating calisthenics in the complete life I aspire to, you know. But time passed, and I think I'm ready for the next step. Okay, so today is Monday, the 5th of January, and it's snowing. It's been maybe a year that I haven't seen any snow, and I had a little intuition of maybe I should film something outside, but also this is not my priority. My main priority today is to find out what happens after 2 days of rest. Yeah, I was serious when I said that. This was a belief I couldn't erase. Even during the break here, I was still accountable to this way of seeing. That high frequency was guaranteeing results, and that 2 days of rest was already too much. I feel light, as you can see. So, just to tell you, 3 days ago, my maximum was 3 seconds to press, nothing more. And negative, it was just unattainable. It was something I couldn't just think about. This was a little first realization. I had come back on training since couple months, but I was still closed-minded on different approaches. This was actually my first step, but the biggest was just incoming. The hypothesis I'm trying to take from Adrian's two workout is SRA. So stress, stimulus, recuperation, and adaptation. It's basically a curve. It's a bit self-explanatory. Well, I won't bother you with the concept explanation. My explanation is so bad. Like, you see, it's better just censoring myself. But this is basically some fundamentals from Adrian's methodology that I seem willing to implement. I'm trying to figure things out, and that's pretty complicated. The first thing I just saw today is that my explanation and my understanding itself of the SRA concept was wrong. Like the base concept of how progress works was biased by my previous knowledge, beliefs more than knowledge. At this moment, about a week in, I was already feeling overwhelmed by the wish of finding out. I think I've always been that kind of perfectionist, not able to perceive progress, minding on perfection in ID, when in reality I need to first achieve intermediate steps in the real world. And I think it's here that something clicked. I just don't need to risk anything. I don't want to try too hard. My goal is to train and to have fun also. And these days I've just been trying to figure things out in order to have the best result. I cannot achieve this. Even if I'm really invested, I'm trying to give as much time as I can. Just not possible. And it's something to be aware of. Taking a step back, it's not the end of the world if for the whole week I haven't moved forward that much in matter of preferences. If I understood things and if in the end I can apply them as they have to. I can surely do some stuff, so it's just a matter of getting into it. And for this, nothing better than a bit of music. And this is my secret. Have you seen that? Does this matter? Yes, a bit, but we can work with this. This moment may seem simple. You may even think I exaggerate, but this attitude I had was the result of years and years in calisthenics. It was like a second personality surging during practice. This is why this moment was actually a glimpse of my complete self dealing with calisthenics. So today is Sunday. I've been resting for 2 days. Just to recap, I just let a bit of room. Here is my current program. I'm trying to implement and test also. So after some days of rest, I could make order in my life, but also in knowledge I could freshly acquire from Adrian. And this is how I ended up with a plan. That would be a bit complicated to explain, but there are things on which I'm mentally weak on. What I mean by this is that more than weaknesses, it's maybe ignorance, dumbness. I do not limit myself enough, and I don't let enough room for new things to happen. This time, I was aware of my weaknesses. One commentary I have to, it's my responsibility, I have to talk about, is that I've been too far on the overall training. Actually, it's by lack of knowledge and certainty that I've led myself to take wrong decisions. I didn't definitely choose for about this repetition in reserve matter. I was like, it's good if I do it, but if not, I'm not sure it won't work. So I didn't search enough for room of uncertainty, and when you don't know, you rely on your intuition. However, my intuition is led by old beliefs and bad habits. So if I fail, it's completely due to my fault for not searching enough. I was exceeding sometimes, but in the overall picture, it was really different. But on the other side, what I can say from this new workout I'm implementing is that each of these trainings have been done without resting before, which is something in my case really rare, and it's because they were adapted to my body conditions. And at each end of training, I'm feeling as I should feel, I guess. I'm not sure, it's completely subjective, but for the volume workout, I'm not feeling stunned, I'm feeling pumped. This workout fits really well my life. I was getting rewarded for pushing the intent. When I was facing a difficulty, I was adapting. It was about trusting the process, so I continued. I don't want to train. My motivation is at its lowest. What's happening right now is that I'm just nervously completely screwed. The reality is that the in-between couldn't last too long. Each session exceeding a bit, trying to see the positive, but it eventually didn't turn out as expected. And more than this, I was neglecting something we cannot fight against. These are facts. Like, nervously, I'm just completely screwed. I'm tired, I'm not sleeping enough, and even if my training's method were the perfect one, this is something essential. I was trying, hardly, but again, I was losing it. However, something is different now. As mentioned in my introduction video, calisthenics is supposed to add things in my life. I'm not trying to have the life that enables me to do well calisthenics. I want to do well in calisthenics beside a well-driven life. So on the personal side, I'll try to take care of my sleep as much as I can. And on the calisthenics side, it's not about resting completely. It's about doing the right thing at the right moment. This is a philosophy of Adrian's method, like doing the right thing at the right moment. This is like the core of it. Right now, this is really what I would like people to fix. So what I will do today is that this is a fact. Nervously, I'm done. I'm screwed. But muscularly, I can do some things. Or maybe on the technical side. I don't want to do technical, I have to admit. But I can do volume. To be honest, it was feeling shit. Doing this whole workout, I was feeling like doing not that much. The fatigue came back really fast. I just did for the sake of doing it, but in the end, there are high chances I understood some things. So I guess this is my gift, let's say, for pushing through with the right intent. This year, I have to deal differently with calisthenics. The way is not either one or another. It's about finding compromise in order to get the most out of both. At this moment, I had learned to deal with weak physical states. But what happens if I have good conditions? Okay, so today is Saturday, 31 of January. It's been a long time I haven't recorded or at least showed what I did. To be honest, I'm aiming for performances, but we kind of reserve in order to really perform tomorrow.
Yeah, j'hérite les keufs. Wesh, quand je t'ai pris la peuf. Pantalon Givenchy neuf. Les autres MC sont morts dans l'œuf. Chérie, je te dirais pas je t'aime, je répondrais même pas moi aussi. 5K euros sur les oreilles, c'est pas des pierres de Swarovski.
This time, it was about learning control in a position where emotions can easily drive the whole, and this wasn't actually the first hint of improvement. What I could figure out throughout maybe reflecting a bit, seeing what I could do, my previous attempt to integrate others' method turned out that by applicating and also talking with Adrian directly, I found that this method is not made for me. I don't have the profile made for this. And so during 10 days, I decided to focus on my recuperation, rest, and reorganize my life overall. During the following days, I felt like I was thinking too much, talking, thinking, without enough action and momentum in order to digest. I then thought, I wasn't expecting at all to be as strong as this. Like, I was really genuinely thinking that it would be a shitty workout, that my conditions weren't right, that I was feeling tired and that kind of stuff. It turned out to be an amazing workout. Actually, I got the feeling I had maybe a year and a half ago. It's honestly, I think it's been a year and a half ago that I didn't felt what I feel right now. So, for what's coming, I basically explain my plans and theory. It's still bro science, this is why we won't enter in details. But what matters is that I was finally getting a structure out of the hole. A couple of weeks ago, I was feeling like hitting rock bottom. But now, we are here. Okay, so today is my first day of coaching. And for this first day, I'm supposed to do my maximum at each exercise I will in theory do in my future programmation. This is my PR for a year and a half. So that's quite great, but we have to go to the next one. What I would like to talk about is how good my push-up was. I really wasn't expecting to push this way, even though I was presenting myself as the one that doesn't know that much. I have to admit that I have experience. I think I needed to completely destroy my ego to some extent in order to welcome any new idea that could come across my way of thinking extra when it comes to training. That's why I standed the position of the one that knew nothing. I would say this is how I approached the documentation of my progression. But when it was time, I would say maybe 2 weeks ago, I progressively gained a bit more confidence about what I knew, what I could do. And this is how I could make the in-between, my understanding and implementing the intent I was just learning at the moment. In parallel of this set of events, I decided to reach out Adrian and saying him hey bro, I'd like to get coached by you. And he said, I'm quite busy, but why not? Actually, the truth is that I was please bro, take me bro, please. And he was well, I'm freaking busy, but why not? So, this is where we are, and this is a course of events. What I was saying about the mentorship and that kind of stuff is that even the hero story, the heroes, the one that made history, literally, they had mentor. They had someone to guide them to some extent when they needed to. And for too long I thought I didn't need any help for anyone. But in reality I was already helped without knowing it. It was just that I wasn't accepting it. And where I would have control over it, I would purposefully decide to not have some, even if I needed to. And yeah, now I think this is my main, let's say, resolution, big change, is that I try to go for things I've never been into in order to get different results. Can I be strong without destroying myself? I don't have all the answers yet. It seems promising, but in the end, I don't think it was about this. This month taught me something else. Engagement produces results, even when you don't understand everything, and especially when you don't understand everything. I didn't figure out training. Actually, I realized how much I still have to learn. And that's when I took the step for mentorship, not to make things easier, but to grow differently, engaging despite uncertainty while maintaining intentions. This is already progress. Well, first, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. All the vlogs archive are in descriptions in an unlisted playlist. Sincerely, really, I read it, but I think it more than reading it. I sincerely wish you take care of you, and see you.